My 11th Circle presents Cricbuzz Live. All eyes on the Oval in London, just south of the Thames. And of course, doesn't have to be the home team as in England playing there, but everyone's got a seat at the Oval. India taking on Australia. This is the same oppositions in a sense that contested the 2003 World Cup final. But we are not going to talk about history. Let's stay in the present and see where things stand today. Zaheer Khan and Robin Uthappa in the studio. Zaheer, I know there are lots of previous World Cup contests we can talk about, but somehow people, whenever they hear India, Australia and the World Cup, one of the contests they think of is that 2003 final.
But always a great battle, isn't it? Like India, Australia has become what Ashes is also. In a way, I think over the years, I think both the teams have developed such a rivalry that it's giving all the viewers a great joy to just see that those two teams fight because the strength of both the teams is huge. You look at these two lineups and you'll see that what about Australia? Yes, they got lots of good bowlers. They got good balance now because Warner and Smith both have been back. That's one thing which they were lacking in. Even though they've not performed in the first game the way they would have liked against West Indies the start. But on the whole, I think both the playing 11s have. I mean, both the teams have had a great history in terms of matchups. Head to head also, if you look at it, in last 1 year or so, it's even, isn't it? You look at the last series at home for Australia, they've lost to India. When the two teams played against each other, you look at India. Australia had come to India, toured India, and in the home series they managed to beat India in that. Even though Indian team was not full strength in few matches, but they managed to secure the wins. Now they are coming off 9 or 10 now. 10 win streak. So all in all, it's a perfect setup for a massive game of cricket which we'll be witnessing. The day is looking lovely. I think one thing for sure in London at the moment, everyone is talking about how nice and sunny it is, how pleasant it is, and when a day is as good as that, I'm sure the cricket will be even better.
Absolutely. I think one thing he touched upon, which I'll get Robin in on as well, is the fact that it's a great cricketing contest. Yes, India-Pakistan has a different kind of rivalry. So does the Ashes, England-Australia. A lot happens off the field as well as on it. Maybe a bit of chatter when it's India-Australia, but it's really that cricketing rivalry with India deciding to bat first. Robin, fair to say that a lot of rivalries have different nuances to it, but this one is probably 90% out on that field.
Oh yes, absolutely. I think the rivalry between India and Australia is so great for the viewers to watch because it's something that's really on the field 90% of the time, maybe 85% of the time, but the rest of it is off the field. So you know that there's something that's always brewing, something that can always happen at any point in time. And the Australians generally are very aggressive in the way they approach the game and in the way they speak and in their banter with you on the field. And I think over the last 10 years, they've gotten used to India giving it back to them, which didn't happen before that. And I think in the last, that has made for the rivalry to kind of brew up into something so exciting for viewers to watch.
Yep, let's just remind you once again about the personnel that will go out there on a gorgeous day in London with both teams saying that they would have actually batted first, but Virat Kohli very clear that with a possible bit of dryness on the surface and the fact that it's a used pitch, he had no hesitation in batting first and putting runs on the board. This is the India playing 11, the absolute identical playing 11 from the one that beat South Africa to start this tournament in Southampton. And again, with runs at the top, always focus on Virat Kohli, but rather than focusing too much on him, it's everyone who plays around him. Rohit Sharma got runs last time around. Virat will look to change the law of averages. Shikhar Dhawan also will want to put things right. And KL Rahul, a lot of chatter about KL Rahul because Rohit said he looks like he'll have a good World Cup and of course tick that number 4 box.
I like the approach simply because in recent times in cricket you've seen a lot of teams prefer to bowl first. That's something which has been a trend now for and a growing trend. Like more and more teams, more and more captains prefer to bowl first adjust to the scenario, situation, see what kind of wicket it is, and then go about it. But here, I think most of the experts, what the reading of the wicket has been coming along was basically the suggestive of that the fact that it's on the dry side. The wicket is on the dry side. Yes, there is grass on the wicket, but it's not going to be any threatening grass as such. Where the ball is going to skid through. If at all, it's just going to make it nice and even wicket. So from that point of view, I think batting first is going to be very good. Once you put runs on board, that scoreboard pressure is always going to be on Australia while they are chasing. Add to that, you have two good wrist spinners. So if the wicket is on the dry side, how Sanjay was talking about and suggesting that okay, it might be little dusty, there might be little help for the spinners later. If the spin comes into play on oval track in the second innings, I think that should really make spinners happy, the Indian team happy after putting those close to 300 runs on board. I think
absolutely. So also to add to that, I think the fact that they're playing on a used track, it's not a fresh track. They're playing on a used track. So obviously the consensus to bat first would have also led from that. The fact that we've got two spinners in our lineup and you want to give them the best kind of wicket to be bowling on, and that would be as late as possible. So I think that also led to them deciding to bat first instead of going with the ball.
Yes, we've had 300 plus scores already at the Oval in this tournament so far, but the fact that India are batting first means the rivalry that we've been looking forward to will be coming sooner rather than later. Yes, indeed, Mitchell Starc, the talk of the town the last time he played against the West Indies, and when he comes up against the likes of Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli, particularly those two, I think will make it for a super spicy contest. Just have a look at these figures for Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma in ODIs from April 2015. I'm going to throw one more number at you after that, and this is from that World Cup. 2,000 plus runs between the two of them, talking about 9 ODI hundreds. But guess what? Just one little factor to throw in there. I mentioned the rivalry, Starc versus these two. How many games did Starc play against these two in that point in time?
I don't think Starc's played too many games at
None.
all. Yeah, because
absolutely zero.
Starc seems like the bowler who plays from only World Cup to World Cup and peppers a few games in between. Some sort of, like a little bit of garnish of a few one-day games, a few T20 games, and a few Test matches in between. But I think it'll make for a wonderful contest. But I think the fact that they've got such great records against Australia over the last 18-20 months will also, will also give them confidence to go out there and you should look at the conversion rate of Rohit Sharma. He's got 450s, 500s. Virat's got 550s, 300s. So you know that once they get in, it's going to be big scores from these guys.
Yeah, I think it's the other way around, but nonetheless, you combine the two sets of figures, it's phenomenal. I mean, are we making too much into the rivalry? The fact that Starc hasn't played against India in this?
I think if at all, Starc needs to be watchful. I think yeah. I don't think these numbers would have had any kind of impact if Starc was playing also. And that's the quality of Virat and Rohit both. They are top class players. Mitchell Starc, yes, he's got the current form also going in his favor. He's got those deliveries which we always talk about as a left armer. If you are able to bring the ball back in at that pace to the right hander, then it's always a threat. And with the new ball, anyways, it's very difficult to bat with the new ball. So that initial phase, yes. But once you see off that phase, I think Starc also can have a hard time, because when you look at Starc, to get that swing and to get the wickets leg before wicket or bowled, you got to pitch the ball right up. And if as a batsman, I'm sure Rohit and Virat, Shikhar, everyone must have prepared, because in this world of technology, you plan that way. You see, okay, how a particular bowler is looking to get you out. Yeah. And for Starc, it's pretty much get the ball right up and swing. So how do you tackle the swing? Play the ball as late as possible, and that's something which our Indian batsmen are capable of doing. So
and not just technology, even the old-fashioned throwdowns were happening at that angle from that height.
Now there are all sorts of things.
Yeah.
The sling as well, right? That what do you call it, that one?
The side arm.
Side arm.
Side arm.
The side arm also is always handy. So I'm sure a fielding coach, Sridhar, with his left dominating hand must be at work, apart from Raghu, just giving those batsmen speed and the lengths which possibly these guys will be attacking with. So you have Cummins who is going to use that bounce, and you have Starc who's going to be looking to use that ball which is pitched right up, possibly Yorker as well, but look for that swing, and that's how the first spell pretty much is going to go. And even though it's going to be a little slow start, but it's a right way of starting in this particular match, because everyone is talking about those first 10 overs. Australia knows first 10 overs, India knows first 10 overs. Now that first 10 overs is going to be so exciting to watch, and I have no doubt. I think today's day, looking at the conditions, Indian openers are going to come on top.
Yeah, even that when we saw those Mitchell Starc figures, the 6-wicket haul that he got, it might have been a great achievement individually, but India still got close to 300 runs on that particular occasion. So it's not necessarily that it was a 120 all out like Centurion in 2003. So again, there's, as Zaheer said, it's Mitchell Starc who should watch out.
Yeah, absolutely. I think on this wicket, it's a used track. The sun's really out. It's beating down on the track. So you know that it may not even be 10 overs. It could be maybe 5 or 7 overs where they have to see off the newness of the ball. And then once the newness has gone off a little bit, then you know that, they're in for trouble, the Aussie bowlers.
Yeah, I think once you've seen that weather overhead, you might start making changes to your My 11 Circle team, because if you happen to have thought of overhead conditions, Mitchell Starc being impactful, I'm sure you'll have him in your team, but maybe you might have thought of pushing him in as captain or vice captain. Select a match, of course, that's pretty obvious, India versus Australia. Create your own team, and this one doesn't change. The big number is 5. That's 5 times the amount of cash. Tada Kavada is if you can beat his particular team. Now, we've seen the India went in with an unchanged team. So, incidentally, have Australia. A lot of talk before the game about Nathan Coulter-Nile, the fact that maybe he ticked a box with the bat, but not so much with the ball. And Aaron Finch admitted at the toss that they thought about it. And Jason Behrendorff's, of course, in the team. They may even have thought of Nathan Lyon at some point in time, but I think they've stuck with a winning combination.
I don't think, even though Finch has said it at the toss that they thought about it, I don't think there was any debate. When someone rescues your team in that fashion, and he's a quality bowler, and Nathan Coulter-Nile had a off day, but also had a good day with the bat as well, and he's an all rounder. So what's important is team winning the match. That's one. Taking the 2 points and coming back from such a difficult scenario and situation in the match. So Smith and Coulter-Nile played a huge role in that match. And so when you have a match like that, it's important that you give the guy confidence and back him for few matches at least. Yes, if it's a scenario where 2-3 matches have been gone and Coulter-Nile has looked off color with the ball, and then in the 4th, 5th match suddenly he scores 90 runs but still nowhere close to his good rhythm with the ball, then it's understandable. But here it's just early days in the World Cup, just 2 games into the World Cup, and in that also he's made an impact on the game. I think that's something the debate shouldn't have happened. If at all there was a debate, I think that debate itself was a wrong debate, because the winning combination, when you look at the playing 11 of Australia, they got a very good balance. You have a left armer, Mitchell Starc, who's going to bowl at a very high pace. You have Pat Cummins, who's got that sharp incoming delivery, bowls a decent slower one as well, has got that extra bounce as well. And then you have someone like Coulter-Nile who shapes the ball away. So you have a variety in your bowling attack with these 3 seamers. Why would you want to move away from that is the question. The option which they have is Jason Behrendorff, who's again someone who is handy with the new ball. So is he going to get the new ball? in the match if he plays? The answer is no, because you will continue with Mitchell Starc and Pat Cummins to start with. Then that role play is not a likewise replacement. So
You obviously saw him up close getting Virat out in
absolutely, but in the current stack up of Australia's playing 11 and how they've been going about their stack up of the overs, it doesn't make sense, because you have two bowlers who are going to bowl with the new ball. Now, if you bring in third bowler who is capable of bowling with the new ball or has the maximum impact with the new ball, that means you have to take away that one new ball bowler and use him in different fashion. And you don't want to change that. Your plan for the World Cup, the template is pretty much set. So that must be, even if at all there was a discussion, the discussion would have ended like this.
And also these Australians are known to play mind games, right? So it also could be a ploy from that aspect. It could be that, they want to play mind games with the Indians and in their preparations and are leading up to
that, we thought about this, but we didn't. But let me come to him. Zaheer's talked about the first three bowlers and Zampa's the fourth. How important will the usage of that fifth bowler be? Because even in that win against the West Indies, we saw that could have been that perhaps weak link. Was he getting it wrong? Did he use Stoinis / Maxwell at the right time? So will that be crucial when it comes to India batting first here?
Well, yeah, it will be crucial for Australia. They would have to use them wisely. Also, depending on maybe when at the fall of a wicket they bring in and squeeze their overs through a little bit quickly. At that period of time in the game, they want to push through the overs a little quickly. So I think that's how they will try and use their fifth bowler in the likes of Stoinis and Maxwell. But it's always good to have another option of spin for them. So I think that's why they look to use Maxwell as well, in that lineup.
So mentally, you just talked about mind games from Australia's point of view. Mentally, the pressure when you're seeing that, we all talk about India, Pakistan, but say from a bowler's point of view, going out there, we saw you in Ahmedabad, even taking you back to Johannesburg, which wasn't the greatest of memories. But is there an element of pressure that plays a part there, and how big?
Well, pressure is always there, and at this level, and especially in World Cup, that pressure is always going to be there. You got to find a way of enjoying that pressure. Like, personally for me, when I'm playing matches, I actually make sure that I don't think about the matches. I keep distracting myself, because I always enjoyed playing the game as it unfolds and staying with the game. At times when you are thinking about the game too much, and it's pretty much individual call, but at times what happens, you're thinking about the game in your head too much, about the scenarios. Okay, what if there are 2 wicket down, how I'm going to approach? What if there are 3 wicket down? What if there is no wicket? So these kind of scenarios you're playing up in your head even before the match has started. So that's something which I used to avoid. I used to always distract myself and switch off actually before the game. As the game starts, you go with the game. You go on with the pressures of the game and start enjoying that. Then cricket is fun. Yeah. So that's how I used to look at it. So every individual has to find a way of dealing with that pressure. Some people get going with the pressure, but end of the day, you have to figure out a way of how you can negate with that. And somehow find a way of enjoying that pressure.
And I think that's a good point to bring in KL Rahul. We briefly touched upon it, and Robin, I'll bring you in here. Obviously, KL Rahul, we all were having great fun with that debate at number 4 and trying to make light of it. But for KL Rahul himself, he would have also had his eyes and ears open saying, okay, they're all talking about me. And I think he kind of answered that question in the previous game. Rohit Sharma's backed him out. So now that he's sort of delivered and given the right signals in that first game, what will be the kind of pressure on him when he walks out at number 4 today?
Well, I think he'll be going in with a lot of confidence. I think the fact that he got a good 100 at number 4 in the practice game leading up to the World Cup, and then the first game he stitched up a very important partnership that India needed at that point in time, along with Rohit. And so, I think because of that, he'll be going into this game with a lot of confidence, and he'll be going into the game wanting to really go out there and excel for himself, because I feel he's ripe for that at this point in time, leading up to this game. So I think the debate won't last any longer. I think they'll just go with this for the rest of the tournament. I think he'll be in a place mentally to go out there and say, okay, I want to make these performances count. I really want to go out there and make sure that every performance of mine on the field at number 4 at that position will have to be something that really puts the team in a great position or wins matches for the team.
Yes, certainly has been. So, as I said, that question is, or rather has, been answered. But one question that is yet to be answered, and we know all of you are ready out there with your phones, with your tabs, ready to give this answer, because this is our joy factor question for today. A few of you more prepared than others. Oh, guess who? Zaheer Khan's involved with this question. We love that. What did Kapil Dev do in 1983, Bhaji in 2002, that has never been achieved by any other Indian, the closest being R. Ashwin in 2016, Anil Kumble in 1996, and the man sitting in our studio, Zaheer Khan, in 2002, who's staring at the question wondering, he asked a question about me and I'm not quite sure of the answer yet, or if I am, I'm not supposed to give anything away. So hold that thought, because some of them already given an answer. I can tell you what, if I have a look at hashtag Cricbuzz Live, very often before we've even gone off the show, the answers have come in. Not yet, but it will come in soon. That's how you get in the answer. Hashtag Cricbuzz Live. We've got a bit of a tough one. I'm going to throw in a question later in the mid-show to see if, in case we have to separate you, how we can separate you. All right, the My 11 Circle expert couch. That's the prediction that's left. We had a big one yesterday with GK getting to 380 for the 386. So what's it going to be today? Because India batting first. Robin, I'm going to let the batsman go first.
330. India will score 330.
330. Are you going higher?
No, I'm actually thinking it's going to be even contest, and even if India gets to 300, I think that'll be a winning total.
Yeah.
Is what I'm sensing. So I'm going to go in with 302.
302, 330. Oh dear, that's put me in a bit of a quandary, because I was going to go somewhere in between, but why not head higher? I'm going to head higher. I'm going to see form. They'll play out these players, so I'm going to go higher, but just about a little bit higher. 340 is I'm going to go. 340. I was going to go 333 a la Chris Gayle, but I've got to go a little bit further away from Robin. So 340 is my total. You've got your teams in. India batting first, sunny day at the Oval, and of course we'll assess everything on Cricbuzz Combox in the 15th over. And then My 11 Circle presents Cricbuzz Live. We'll be back at the halfway mark with lots more to chat about.